Well, what a pleasure it is to be joined live by West Indies coach Daren Sammy, who's in Colombo at the moment, I think, in Sri Lanka. Daren, it hasn't gone according to plan. Not the full strength team, I have to say, in Sri Lanka, but you've lost both series. No doubt there's been plenty of learning going on.
Yes, yeah, we're not in Colombo. We're actually in Kandy now. Still a beautiful part of Sri Lanka. Yes, obviously, we would have been disappointed, especially in the T20 series. It's a format over the last year we've more or less been really good at. I mean, the ODI squad is a squad that is still a work in progress. You know, I've been last played ODIs, I think in February in Australia earlier this year. So, yeah, the way we've played, the manner we've been challenged, especially in Spain, and the way we've responded, that's been the most disappointing part of this trip for us. You know, having the temperament that when things get hard, we fight, not at the back end, but early up. You know, like we showed in the last two ODIs with the partnership with Roston Chase and Shofane, and then Shofane with Moti. But yeah, that's been disappointing for me, the ability to face the challenge and absorb pressure versus Spain.
What about big picture, Daren, the 50 over format in general? I mean, you've got the Super 50 in the Caribbean, but I don't think that many players play a lot of 50 over cricket. It's more the T20 game, isn't it?
Yeah, that's some of the challenges we face. You know, we've had countless conversations on how we're gonna change that from the franchise standpoint. The new director, well, is almost a year in the job. Miles Bascom, myself, the franchise coaches, we try to work closely in order to put a system together that will marry what we're trying to do at international cricket and, you know, kind of fast track, but also help develop, you know, our regional structure that we could now, more or less like what England did after 2015, where you created roles in the way that you wanted to play, which then followed by the pitches that you played on, and you saw the Jason Roys and the Butlers and all these guys developing, and the brand in which England played allowed them to win 2019 World Cup. So with the eyes on the 2027 World Cup, which is about 2.5, 3 years away, we're trying to put these measures in place so that we could see some results, you know, but we are a long way away, especially at the ODI format to where we've been, because we're number 10 in the world. So the result tells you where we're at in terms of the world stage.
I don't want to drag you into controversy here, so I'll say it. I think it's ridiculous that the West Indies aren't in the Champions Trophy. I mean, everybody else is preparing for that at the beginning of next year, and the West Indies aren't there. I mean, what is the world doing to encourage 50 over cricket in the region if you're not going to be in the Champions Trophy?
Look, it was sad for us not to be in the World Cup recently, or the last World Cup in India, and now the Champions Trophy. But you know, look, there's a lot of chat that will go on, you know, with the help from, you know, the ICC, you know, helping the lesser boards and stuff like that. The challenges we face in our players looking to earn a living in franchise cricket versus, you know, being at home, taking part in our own tournament. So that will always be the case. However, what I'll say to that is the onus is upon us to improve our skills. You understand? Whether the players that we have here, we are lacking the skill set to actually compete with the world. T20, we have it because it's a shorter format, but the skill set to apply it for long periods, we see it in our test cricket, we see it in the ODI format. And sometimes you see a glimpse of it when we've been put under pressure in T20 cricket. But the skill set, especially to play spin, that is something we could control. But it will take a commitment from our players. How many of our guys will, you know, sacrifice a franchise league here to stay home to work on their skills? And that's what I've been drilling in this team, you know, because good skill set brings confidence. confidence brings the presence at the crease for when things go tough like we are facing in Sri Lanka. If we had the skills, turning ball, the reverse sweeps, the sweeps, judging length early, if we had all of that in our game, then whether the wicket turns or not, because we are adequately prepared to handle those skills, those deliveries, then it's a different ball game. Like you see when Rutherford and Shofane and Moti did yesterday, record partnership for us. When we have that bravery to bat with intent that matches the skill, I don't think we'll be unstoppable. But it's the work that we have to put in to get to that point. And at the moment, we're not there yet.
It seems like it's taken about 20 years for an outbreak of common sense in West Indies administration. I mean, there's never been an issue with players wanting to represent the region. But when they can earn 10 times as much playing franchise cricket, that's an extreme example. But is it now sorted? Is there an actual understanding? Has there been an outbreak of peace and common sense that people understand that they won't be available? I don't know, Andre Russell, Shimron Hetmeyer, they won't be available for every bilateral series.
I think what has happened, and I could only speak from experience and the conversations that I've had, there's more communication happen, advanced communication. So then with advanced communication, there's planning that could happen, and there's we have our contracted players. We have guys like Nicholas Pooran, Hetmeyer, Russell, who are not contracted. So you can't restrict, we cannot restrict the trade of players. We are competing, especially boards like New Zealand and West Indies and all these lesser boards are competing against, what is reality now. England could say, what, Josh Butler, you're not going to this tournament because your retainer contract is already X, Y, and Z. Australia could say that. India could stop all of the players from going to any other league because of what they are earning from their territorial boards. It's I mean, you can't say enough money, but it is, they earn enough so that the boards now could dictate where you play. Now with us, the problem from since I started has always been finance, and in a environment and a region where the world now, cricket is a business now. It is hard, but I think what we've been able to do with this administration and the players is proper communication and a better understanding of how we go about things. So when I have conversations with Nicholas Pooran about his availability, and I speak to his agent and I speak to him, okay, this is what we have coming, and I'm talking about 6 months down the road. What are you looking to do? And then my contracted players, we have those discussions as well. And it's been really good with what I have available to me, juggling who's available here and there. And it has been better. And I foresee with the right communication and the right attitude, it getting better.
Talking of Josh Butler in England, it's some new faces. I mean, they've also got selection issues, finishing off a test series in Pakistan. That's an interesting looking England squad, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I was in my room a couple of nights ago speaking with Ron Lewis, who played in the club where Liam Livingstone was a kid, and he played at that club for 6 years in Manchester or wherever it is. And he was reminding me, like, Liam used to come and used to bowl leg spin. And if you watch even the way Liam bats, when I look back at Roll, there's a similar pattern to him, and his dad and Roll has a really good relationship. So to watch the squad England have, but I will tell you this: the depth of England's cricket is so far superior to what we have. So they could have a test team playing here, and they could have enough players who are at that standard to come and play and still compete However, I think the last time England was in the Caribbean, we won both series, and something we had not done in, I think, 25 years. I think the one-day series when we won, we've not beaten them in almost 25 years. So it shows the dominance they've had. But what I could say, something about West Indies playing England, no matter what we find ourselves, what stage our cricket is, when we turn up against England, somehow the standard is just raised, and I'm pretty sure the buzz, even here in Sri Lanka, the guys are eager waiting for that series. We touched down in Antigua and, start the ODI series and then the T20 series. The boys are looking forward. The fans at home are looking forward to it. And I'm looking forward to it too, try and erase some of the blows we got here in Sri Lanka.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Daren, but I remember a couple of years ago you saying that you had no intention of going into coaching. You won a couple of World Cups, but it's been 18 months now. And I just wonder, you seem quite energized. You seem like you're actually enjoying it. Are you?
I am, I'll tell you, right, the role has actually grown on me and I still today, sometimes when I sit back and I speak to the guys, like, I did not see this in my role. I did some commentary here and there, Mohammed Akram, was the first one who fought like, coaching is my calling, I guess because of the role that I played when I actually was active in cricket, having captaincy. And then he gave me a few tips and then he said to me that I'm ready to do that. And through the latter stages of my career, having worked with guys like Andy Flower and Mohammed Akram, Otis Gibson, all these coaches, and watching how they go about doing things and some of the things they did that helped my game improve, I picked it up, subconsciously, not knowing that I would implement that now in the role that I am today. But I'm really enjoying it. It's a role that has grown on me. I'm always looking to improve myself. Once I understand what the mission is in the role that I am now, then my mind just has to adjust and start the work. And hopefully, the ODI leg, we've had little victories that makes you want to continue the job. But if I look at what we've been able to do as a T20 side, started at number 9 to now, I think we're number 3. We got to number 2 before the World Cup. The strides we've taken in the last 12 to 18 months, it's encouraging. And I look at in a ODI setup, when you look at some of the youngsters coming through, I look at the bowling of Alzari and Jaden Seals and a young Shamar Joseph, and a young, Joel Andrews, who's shown so much promise coming into the side. Casey Carty is improving. And it gives you the encouragement. And you see the guys working and putting in the work. And just for you to now build that confidence in them so that what they've been trying in the nets, they're brave enough to actually implement it in the middle. So I'm trying to instill that in them.
Just a couple more if I can, Daren. Talk to me about Shai Hope and tell me why. I mean, I get the impression he's doesn't get the credit that he's due. I mean, I think he's verging on greatness in ODI cricket. If he's not there already, I think he's an extraordinary player and he doesn't seem to get the recognition that I think he deserves.
Yeah, I think Shai is a class act. You look at his numbers, what he's been able to do over the last 5-7 years, in a failing white ball in that format, in ODI format, and the way he's been able to be the standout for us. I think he's got about 14 or 15 centuries, averaging close to 50, if not 50. And he continues. But what I could tell you, Shai Hope is a complete professional. He's the example for a young Joel Andrews and those guys to follow. He doesn't sell himself short. He comes in every day and put in an honest work. And that's why you see the results out there. I always tell him when I see him, it reminds me of, people talk about the Babar Azams and the Virat Kohlis. And, if you look at Shai's numbers, what he's done, he's not far off from that. And I guess he doesn't get the credit he deserves because, typical the West Indies way of doing things, you have the master blaster in Surviv and, Desi and Greenidge, and back in then you had the Lara But when you look at Shai, you know, yes, people will say over the years, okay, the way he scored his runs, you know, at a slow pace, but then you forget the role he was playing in being that man to just stabilize the inning. But I'm pretty sure if you look at Shai Hope over the last year and a half, the rate at which he scored his runs is, I'm pretty sure is as good as any. I saw one of the best hundreds last year against England in that first game when we chased down a record 320 something against England in Antigua. And it was because of the greatness of Shai Hope. And you're absolutely right. I don't think my captain gets the credit he deserves for what the contribution he's made into the game for the West Indies people.
And finally, unfortunately, Harmy's stuck in traffic. He was supposed to be here with us, but
I know. Yeah, Harmy didn't want to talk to me, man. He probably remembers, you know, when I'm with my test debut, I kind of got him out, you know. So maybe that's why. Harmy, I'll see you during the series, though, I think.
Yes, you certainly will. And this is the final one, and I know you're sick and tired of asking it, but the future of the game in all the formats, how do you see it in the region playing out over the next 5-10 years? I mean, are you still hopeful for Test cricket? And
I mean, how I would love to see it play out, for sure. You know, you look at Test cricket will always, to me, will always, even in the advent of T20 cricket, will always be the real master. You know, this is where every aspect of your game is being tested: the mental, the physical, the technical, you know, aspect of your game. Test cricket will always have that space. However, it is important for teams like West Indies and, you know, even Pakistan and Bangladesh and all the other teams to have that help, you know, because we all know what's happening in the game. You know, you hear talks about the big three, the revenue. We do need the finance. You know, I'm pretty sure if we were in a position to offer some Nicholas Puran, even have the money that is outside there, you know, from our side, and allow him, you know, hey, Nicky, you get 2 free leagues to play a year and you commit to us because we could give you X, Y, and Z. And that is, you know, lucrative enough to keep him. Because what I could tell you, these guys are still passionate about West Indies. So Test cricket for sure. If you can't get 20 wickets, you won't win no Test match. That is the thing I always believe. And we have seen, you know, couple bowlers I call about. We are developing a bowling synergy where guys could get 20 wickets. Obviously, because of what England is doing, the game, the Test cricket is shifting. You just saw one team scored 500 and still lost by an inning. And it's because of the pace at which the game, Test cricket, is being played at. And now you ask me, why is that? But it's because the advent of and the exploits in T20 cricket. You see it filtering into Test cricket now, which makes the game even more exciting. So I still feel the formats are there to complement each other. But for teams like me, I would really love, we have a lot to do, you know, in terms of our development, the future. And I'm hoping that the systems that the director, Miles Bascom, and the vision of President Kishore, I really hope that we could now move all that talk and put it into action. So now we could still produce at a faster rate those type of cricketers. And hopefully, you know, the rain that falls in the Caribbean is dollars. You know, it falls like dollars, so we could have it in our possession. And then we could make impactful, meaningful change where, you know, cricket now is the first love. West Indies cricket now becomes the first love of our youngsters, because that's why I played, that's why Brian Lara played, that's why Sylvive played, and the pride and the passion in which they played, that love for West Indies, that hunger for West Indies becomes the forefront of all the cricketers in the Caribbean. And then you will see, because when somebody is hungry, they go out and find something to eat. Instead of somebody just want to eat, he's waiting to be served. So we need to create that hungerness in our players that West Indies becomes number one priority. But all three formats, yes, people might say the one-day game is, taking a little toll because it's too far in between. It's not Test cricket, it's not T20, but I still feel, there is space for all three.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.